Hello everybody, welcome back to the AdvancedVape channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the GLAZ RDSA version 1.1. So this is kind of an incremental update to the 31 millimeter GLAZ RDA. They call it RDSA, and the S is for squonk. I did a review on that previously, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot about the build deck and stuff because that's pretty much the same. I'll focus more on the differences, so this will probably be a little bit shorter of a video. So the main two things that are changed between the version 1 and the version 1.1 is the addition of this top cap for kind of directed side airflow, if you can see that, in addition to the bottom air that's already on the deck. And a changed squonk design to prevent it from leaking if you oversquonk. This is a huge atomizer, and there's not a whole lot of squonks out there that are really going to be able to take advantage of what this atomizer can do in a squonk setup. You would have to use the series deck, I would say, if you're using one of the lower powered squonks. I don't have a really high wattage squonk. I have the dot squonk. I think that's 100 watts. And for me, a big 30 millimeter plus RDA is going to be best used above that. So, I'm sure some people will be able to use it, but for me, I'm going to be using it as an RDA. I believe I tried the squonk on the original version, and I didn't notice any oversquonking issues with it, but the base in the well has been changed a little bit to prevent that. So as you can see, it's a pretty unique build deck, and I talked about it last time. You can either build in kind of normal mode where the coils go here, and you can do triple coils with all of these posts if you want, but it goes here and here. With the center not being used. Or you can use this as a series deck, which is what I'm going to do, using this little thing. And that goes in these center posts. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to be putting frame staple coils in there. So because this whole process is completely the same between my previous video and this one, I'm probably just gonna skip through this real fast and get it done, and then we'll talk about that top cap a little bit more. Alright, I just wanted to point out that that was reading at 0.32. Now that it's hot, it's 0.44. That means that the series deck is working. So I probably could use this at 100 watts on that little tiny squonk, although there would be some major overhang there. But I'm just going to use this as an RDA. I'm going to give this a chance just to cool down just for a minute. And while it's doing that, I'll talk about this top cap. So these little slots, they sit right into these bottom airflow slots on either side, adding in side air in addition to the bottom. You can also completely close this bottom air if you want and just have the side air, as well as obviously closing the side air and just having the bottom, but that kind of defeats the purpose. And then in that case, you would want to use one of these two glass tops that it comes with. Sorry about that, there's a fire truck outside. It also comes with a black sleeve if you want to make it look black, although that would work fine with the glass, not so much with the SS metal cap. I'm going to be using Kindle Gold on the wicking, and it's an RDA. There's nothing special about the wicking at all. One thing I want to point out really quick, this is with the bottom part of the top cap on and the upper part removed. When I just went to put it on there, I could feel the coil just barely touching that, so I had to scoot the coils in just a little bit. The clearance on this is super tight. If you can see there, they just barely fit in there, so it would probably be a little bit more open without the neutral post in there, but any diameter over 3 is going to have issues in there with a thick wire like a frame staple, so you have to be very careful of the clearance there. So I'm going to double check that it's not going to make contact or anything. The resistance is reading right. On a DNA, it'll go down to about 0.05 if you have a short. So yeah, I'm going to double check real quick, and then we'll give it a try. Okay, so I took it off and put it back on, double checking the resistance again, and it looks okay. So I thought that I had enough clearance there, but no, you got to really pay attention to that because those walls come right up to it, and they really reduce the chamber size a lot. So I remember the original GLAZ RDA being really airy, and the flavor was good, but it was kind of just getting a lot of juice on your tongue, sort of good flavor. It didn't really have any density, and even with huge coils in there, it was kind of just the type of RDA that'll just give you a ton of clouds, and it had good flavor, but you end up with a nicotine headache if you sit there and vape on it for too long. It's just so airy. So I was a little bit afraid about adding more airflow to this, but we'll give it a try, and I'll let you know what I think about having both of the airflows on there. I just slid this on there, and I'm going to have them both wide open to start with at about 115 watts. It's very airy. I'm going to close it down to about halfway on the top. And now I'm going to try halfway on the bottom. This metal cap gives you a huge boost in flavor. Having that condensed down chamber, cutting out all of the open air that's present in the glass, it makes a huge difference. So 115 watts on those big coils in the neutral post setup. It's warm and it has a lot of density to it. I really like neutral post setups to be able to use the bigger coils and not have to just put a ton of watts in it, and it works really well in that setup. So I really don't care too much for the way that it vapes not in the neutral post setup. So just having them in the base holes there without that center post there. Trying to take off just the top. If you can see, there's such a small chamber in there, especially with this wall in between there, that the vapor literally has nowhere to go, and it ends up being really dense and warm in a good way. It still definitely has that feel of just a huge amount of cloud and performance. For a 30mm RDA, this is definitely the kind of RDA that's super high output. I wouldn't really put small coils in there. If you like big coils, then it's a really good RDA for that choice. And I've been answering a lot of questions lately from people asking about neutral post RDAs for a lot of different reasons. If they need a higher resistance and want to use bigger coils is the main issue. And for me, this has become my #1 recommendation for that. There's not a whole lot of them out there, but the flavor and performance on this makes it just kind of a hands down recommendation if you're looking for a neutral post. It's also probably the best flavor with this top cap out of the 30mm RDAs that I own. Sorry about that, I ran out of space on my camera. I would definitely recommend having the air about halfway open on the top, and all the way open on the bottom is fine. It's just a lot of air to have it open all the way, and those are really big coils, so even if you were using smaller coils, it would just be totally drowned out. Yeah, I'm really impressed by the warmth and the density on that using this top cap. If I had to come up with a negative, it's not really negative. You just have to be really aware of those walls in there. So I've built on this before, and I still had to adjust them after I initially built them because they were just a little bit too far out. So definitely something to be aware of and to check and recheck so you don't get a short. It's this kind of reduced chamber that gives you such good flavor, but it also means that you really have to pay attention to that. I can't really see myself using this as a squonk like I talked about earlier, because I don't have a squonk setup that's going to go up high enough wattage really to be using it at its best. If I did have a larger squonk like a DNA squonk, then I think I would probably enjoy it a lot. But it's a huge RDA. You know, it's really not that big a deal to add juice to it. So in this setup as it is right now, I really enjoy it, and I like it a lot. If you like neutral post or you're looking for one, absolutely check this out. And if you like 30mm RDAs, it's worth giving a look to, because the flavor on this is really good, and a lot of 30mm RDAs kind of fall into the hole of just being a ton of airflow, and it kind of just drowns everything out, and it's all about clouds. But with this cap on there, it is absolutely not like that. So I think that'll bring us to the end of this quick little review on the 1.1 update to the GLAZ RDSA. If you like this video on our channel, give us a like and subscribe. And as always, if you have any questions, leave them below or in the comments. Thanks.